Good morning, New Eden. Today is October 7th, 2023, and this is the Federation Frontline Report. My name is Frozen Fallout. I will be your host today, and with us we have a very special guest. Baltec of the Megathron Mastery is here with us today to tell his story about how everything got started for the Great Baltic. And thank you for coming on to the show today. It's really awesome to have you, man.
Yeah, it's no bother. I always enjoy helping out militia.
Are you a fellow Galentian?
Um, Technically, I am. Well, I say technically, I am shooter on site for the Galendi Navy.
Oh.
Presumably because of what I've done to the Megathron. But honestly, I cannot remember how I ended up a kill on site for the Galendi, and at this point, I haven't really bothered to fix it yet.
I know how that goes. That's me with the Keldari, but I know how that happened. Um, but yeah, so what are you up to these days? Who you flying with?
So I'm with Pandemic Horde, and I'm enjoying life as a run-of-the-mill line member.
So are you still out and about in your Megathron all the time?
I am. I've just taken the Megathron out today. Unfortunately, didn't get any kills because, again, well, Megathron's big and slow. So, unfortunately, I was a little bit too late to every fight that's happened today. But I will eventually get round to killing something.
Yeah, it's a hunt sometimes, and yeah, when you're in a lumbering Megathron, um, have you still been able to fit them so they can be in like frigate fleets?
Strange enough, yes. CCP have made recent changes, so Harpythron is now, in theory, a thing. So I've got to put one of those together.
Awesome. So that's great to hear. I'm glad that because I know that there were time periods that I watched your Fanfest presentation that you did on the Megathron, and that was a really cool presentation. I was like blown away when like I saw you at Iceland, and I was like, I know you from somewhere. Like I like.
Sometimes it's like I've got one of those faces. Other times people actually remember me for doing the stupid stuff I get up to in a video game. It never stops being weird.
Awesome. So let's take the way back machine here and kind of go back in time. How did you get involved in Eve in the first place, and when was that?
So this is a very long time ago. In a galaxy far, far away. I was a refugee from Star Wars Galaxies.
Oh yeah, I played Star Wars Galaxies. I also played Earth and Beyond, which was also another game that I got exiled from.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you remember when the NGE came about in Galaxies, which was pretty much the final nail in the coffin for that game. We started hunting around for another game to play, and EVE Online ticked all the boxes. Really.
What year was this?
This would be back in 2006.
Okay,
I
so
finally made the move over.
that's when I made Frozen Fallout. Was 2006 November, I want to say. And
Yeah, I've got you beaten by a couple of months.
oh, okay, yep. So, but Brethren in Time, that's epic.
Yeah, I had tried Eve a couple of times before. Infamously,
same
this
here.
is why I've got a 1 in Baltic 1, because I can't remember the login details for the original Baltic. I couldn't be bothered to change the name. I'll go through, get the password again.
Yeah, I had that problem with Frozen Fallout, and so, but the original Frozen Fallout, I think I made him in 2005 or so, or just after when Earth and Beyond kind of fell apart, and I ended up like, just putting one word, Frozen, no space Fallout. So the second character that I made was able to actually be Frozen Space Fallout. So. And I was actually able to recover that account. That was nice.
I say, like, my way of like picking a name was even more stupid. Basically, I threw a dart at a board with a map, and it landed in the Baltic Sea.
There you go.
That's how I ended up with Baltic.
That's pretty fucking cool, actually. I like that. That's super epic. All right, so you got in, like, primarily kind of, really took the dive in 2006. What was the first things that you were drawn to about the game?
So it was the freedom of ship fitting. Was one of the big things because in Galaxies, I was widely known for flying ships around with very strange fits. Strangely enough, dogfighting TIE bombers, just for example.
Nice. All right, that's interesting. Yeah, that sounds like a Megathron in a frigate fleet. So
well, more or less is, yeah. Dogfighting those things with air wings, challenging, I'll tell you. But yeah, that's how I managed to get into it, and Dave Universe was just so much bigger for that sort of nonsense. So I just jumped in, kept running, and didn't stop.
So what were the first kind of steps that you took, like, once you got into EVE? How did you do the standard path of missions and mining in the beginning and staying in high sec?
Oh, well, say, Dave Online, way back then, basically the tutorial was, here's your Ibis, here's 5,000 disc, here's a boot out the station, go have fun.
Yep,
And that's all you
remember
got.
that.
So yeah, you go out, you don't know what you're doing, you don't know where you are, you don't know what anything does. So you wind up fitting mining lasers to cruisers, trying to dogfight things in a hall.
The mining dummy well.
Oh yeah, mine was the Apocalypse.
Yep.
Which was incidentally the first battleship I also lost was a mining Apocalypse. Fortunately, Killboard doesn't go back that far.
Yeah, no, I noticed that. I my like even the in game, there's like there's a cutoff point that that I know kill mails were around back then, but it wasn't the system as we know it in any way, shape, or form.
There's two cutoffs from back then. There's the cutoff from when there is no information whatsoever.
Right.
And the other one is they'll have the ship, but you don't have the fit.
Yep. Yep, and then there's like another one that like just before that was that, but it was in like email form or Eve mail form.
Oh yeah,
or
yeah.
Something
You got
like
an
that.
email. Yeah, you got an email. Ara laughed at you when you got podded. It was a great time.
Yeah, because I think it was like 2005, 2006 when they actually implemented that. I was just listening to like Empires of Eve. But yeah, so yeah, the standard. I remember the 2006 standard EVE experience. It sounds like you got into that. What got you to actually stay with EVE Online?
So I mean, I was lucky in a way because our entire corporation came from Star Wars Galaxies. Our entire guild moved over.
Okay.
So I had that going with me, and it's been the same guys all the way through, pretty much.
Even today, huh?
More or less, yeah. More or less today, it's the same sort of core of the corporation is from way back when.
That's awesome. Yeah, because
yeah,
I've had friends that I've had a lot of friends that have played EVE Online, and only a few of them still log in and do some stuff here and there. It's it's a long time to play this game, so it's what 17, almost 18 years.
Yeah,
like
I mean, we're
17.
celebrating what the 20th anniversary this year of EVE Online, and it's not going to be far for us to celebrate our 20th year playing the game.
Right.
We're 3 years out.
But I mean, having that original strong bond of Star Wars Galaxies is probably a really cool, like, strong thing that allows you to, like you said, stick as a corporation. You've been doing this, you've been buddies all this time, been building this thing up. So that's cool. So you jumped right head into it. So to your corporation, you guys stuck around in high sec for a while. Did you end up going to like low sec, or did you guys head out to 0.0 right away?
Yeah,
or?
we went directly out to null sec into Venal. 6NJ was our home system for a good few years. And this was, back when Bob was around, you had Moses Meahy kicking about, and we effectively were pirates preying on the ship lanes back then. Because there wasn't a lot out in 0-0 to do at the time. I mean, the best form of income back then was belt ratting.
Yep, and I remember that belt
really
ratting was
miss.
yeah, belt to belt to belt. Hope you get a battleship, and then you could leave the like frigates, and so when you by the time you got all the way back through all of the belts, then it would have respawned as a battleship.
Respawn the battleships.
Yep.
Yeah,
I remember that
one.
Yep.
Shouting at people because they went in and killed your frigates.
Yeah, because we started out as like a group in Lowsec, Old Man Star, like right away as our like we had like 5 guys from back in the day, like Coder, Delavan, Frozen Fallout. It was me. We had like a couple other people, Kumokuso, people like that. Well, he might have come a little bit later, but in any case, it was like a small group of us that got together and then made like a corporation, hung out, Mech Enterprises group. And then, but I ended up like seeing and hearing about the 0.0 shit, and I was like, I had to check this out. So I joined up with the Interstellar Alcoholic Conglomerate during that time period. So I got to like experience belt ratting like 3 months in with just the dumbest ideas of what I should use for belt ratting.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it was the greatest achievement. You got yourself your first battleship. I mean, back then it was a huge thing to have a battleship, and the things we used to put on them were just abysmal.
Yeah. Yep. Small guns, medium guns. Just get the battleship hull so I could do the. I remember back before belt riding was the mission running with like level 3 missions. And like just being like, okay, if I can just get a bigger, faster, or bigger, more gun ship, I can just run through these quicker. And discovering that, man, mission running sucks. But
yeah.
Hey Steve, how's it going, man? Got Steve, one of our very solid subscribers, super awesome. But yeah, so. You guys like started off. You guys were solo, or did you join an alliance right away?
We were in it was more of a corporation than an alliance sort of like thing back then. I think alliances were fairly new, but there wasn't a huge number of people in these things. It was, you had the big ones, but I mean back then a big fight was 100 dudes, so it wasn't something you needed. I'll say back then. We did end up with in a Romanian alliance, which was which was a lot of fun when things start getting heavy and they start speaking Romanian. And we just sort of sat there going, I don't know what he said.
Yeah, I understand that language barrier really well because I got in with the Nissawa cartel that are Korean. Super awesome dudes, and I don't know a lick of Korean at all, and so I was like completely lost whenever things were being said. Tried to use Google Translate and stuff like that to figure some stuff out, but can't do that when you're on camera.
I mean, we didn't have Google Translate back then.
Yeah, this was recently for me, luckily. So yeah, 2006. Yeah, that was. Luckily, I got to be with like just a bunch of drunken idiots who just wanted to throw themselves into war, death, and destruction, and kind of gave me the first understandings of what fleet fights were like.
Oh yeah, I mean, the early days of fleet fights were a very different thing. You didn't have Logi like you have today, because the Logi boats back then were more or less useless, so nobody flew them. So it was just a battle of attrition from start to finish.
So did you guys participate in like the first or second Great Wars in the beginning? Because I know that was like the first Great War was right around like 2006, 2007, I believe.
We did, but it was like it was a bit part. We were harassing Moses Meahy at the time.
Oh, okay.
So basically, we were just a little pain in the side of them in Venal, just poking away. Which is where I don't know if you remember it, the Battle of 6 NGA, which at the time was the biggest slaughter of Titans and super capitals, can't remember the exact date
Was that you're
was.
talking about the Pandemic Legion one, right?
No. White Noise was involved, and it was against Moses Mehi.
Against most
So
moist.
this is
In the
going a
first
long,
Great
long way
War?
back. I don't think it was in the Great War itself. I mean, this is
Oh,
where
okay.
memory sort of gets fuzzy.
Yeah. No, human memory is rough.
But
Definitely.
we basically were in the system waiting for them. White Noise, which at the time were one of the big powerhouses, they had a trap waiting for them. They jumped their Titans and Supers into the system, and of course back then TD didn't exist. So when you went in second, you either got a fight or you got a black screen, and they got
Yep.
the black screen. So essentially, they couldn't do anything, and we ate their Super and Titan fleet.
Oh wow, nice.
Yeah,
That's
it does suck.
it.
For the
I'm
other party, yeah.
it's awesome, yeah, to be the one eating them. It would suck if you were losing your Titan or Super in
Yeah.
that situation, which is why tie-dye is actually pretty fucking good. Like,
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
keep in
besides
mind
that,
there's a lot of new people that've only ever experienced tie-dye, and us old farts
yeah,
keep reminding them, yeah, trust us, it can be a lot worse than this.
so much worse. Like, things are happening, dude. Slowly, but they're happening. Like,
Yeah, it might be happening frame by frame, but at least it's happening.
so when did you first get into being a master of the Megathron?
That came about completely accidentally. So it wasn't something I really planned for. It was more to irritate my CEO at the time. So we would be going out in our little fleet, and I don't know why exactly I got a liking for the ship, but I just did. So I started taking it out on those flights. It was just nice and simple. Simple fits. We weren't going up against anything particularly tough. So it was just more to irritate our guys rather than the enemy. And it just sort of ballooned from that point. Not long after I started doing it, we ended up joining Goons. And for some reason, they allowed me to continue with it.
Right, so you.
I've never really understood why, to this day.
Well, I mean,
But,
it's not like you were asking for reimbursement, right, or any.
Oh no, I
like,
was,
you were just-
yeah, I never got reimbursement for these ships.
And you also
Uh,
like tried to design it so that it wasn't holding up the fleet, right? Like, so you'd put like really weird fits, like
Oh yeah, well, that did come a little bit later. It started out with standard fleet with Goons, then started getting involved in Roman fleets, and this thing would survive and survive. Did okay. It was, something funny. And then it all really kicked off with the Fountain War. I started being allowed to take it in the actual Stratop fleet because, yeah, I would fit this thing so it wasn't a hindrance. That was the number one rule. Can't go if it's a hindrance. So it would go out with the Caracal fleet, which was a bad idea at the time. The Caracal fleet would go out, everyone would die, apart from the Megathron, which would come back. And this just kept on happening for weeks, months. And it just became sort of like, a meme, really.
How is that? How you like? Do you feel like honored by like all of this? Like you become a legend of the Megathron. Like that is just insane. Rookie Bear, thank you so much for the raid. Hey, Big Phil, how's it going, man? Thank you all. We'll get to the follows. I think we'll do that at the end, depending. Like, we'll see what pops in. But yeah, thank you guys for coming here. We're just talking right now about Baltec and how he became a legend with the Megathron. So I was just asking. Sorry. So I was just asking, what like, how do you feel about being the legend of the Megathron?
It's so weird. I mean, it shouldn't be happening, really. Any sane sort of like person would just turn around and say, "No, this shouldn't be happening." But it's just the fact that it does. Um, it just makes it so funny.
It's an unbelievable journey of like, I mean, is that the you will fly other ships, right? But the Megathron was, what would you say, like 80%, or what percentage do you think you would use the Megathron over any other ship throughout time?
It's all the time.
All the
All
time.
the time.
So, do you fly anything else? Have you ever? I mean, like in the past.
Oh yeah, I've got all sorts of nonsense in the fleet hangar. I have been trying to make the Thunderchild work as a ship. I haven't managed it yet. I did come close when everybody was flying around in Cormorant fleet. Turns out Thunderchild is very good against Cormorant fleet. Fortunately, by the time I'd figured out how to fit it up and how to get it all going, everyone stopped using Cormorant fleet, so it became a little bit useless again.
Yeah, that bounce at damage that it does, where it just hits everybody, and if you get a good hit off on them, like I could see like them all popping in one.
It's a brilliant concept, but it suffers from a fatal flaw, which is basically you can't have it be too good, because otherwise you'll end up with fleets of these things just deleting everything. Unfortunately, that means it's going to be bad, because it has to be, because otherwise it would just be so oppressive. There's a sweet spot in there somewhere. They haven't quite hit it yet.
There's a special niche for it, I think, in a couple of things. I've seen it used for some interesting like PvE activities if you get like a bunch of them together. Stuff like that you can do.
Yeah, I use it for ratting. It's very good at drones.
Right. So, what were some of the like most epic like things that you've done with a Megathron? Do you have any specific stories about how you went in with a Megathron, came out alive, or even dead because but it was still something epic?
Well, I mean, I used the same Megathron throughout the entire Fountain War. It didn't die, so that's one big check mark going for it. My favourite one was probably one of the Caracal fleets, where we went deep into test space. Everybody died, and then I ended up getting chased by interceptors. Halfway, well, what was it? It was out of Fountain. I ended up having to go through high sec to try and get back around to where we were staging. I think it was something like 70 jumps. Ended up doing. Managed to escape the interceptors once I hit high sec. Then the high sec pirates got involved. Because, Megathron, let's go get him. So I ended up getting chased through high sec, back into low sec, and then all the low secers saw me, and they decided to chase me all the way to null sec. It went on for about an hour. Just me running away.
I remember running around with battleships in the day, like just getting chased by them. One time I took a Dami out into the middle of like the drone regions or something, and just to like check it out. This had to have been before I was even in IAC, I think. In any case, I remember I was out there and I just went up and I was like, "Hey, can I dock at your guys' station?" Like, and then just a whole bunch of shit undocked and like started like chasing me, but I was able to get away. Like, I just like kept on just randomly hitting gates. Like, somehow, some way, the interceptor. Like, I think they just had like a T1 frigate that was trying to chase me down, and this is before the warp changes. So like,
yeah, I should point out this was before the warp changes came in. It was a lot easier for battleships to manage to evade interceptors back then.
Yeah, so you got out completely alive, and or did you get caught in zero?
Yeah, they caught me a few times. The thing managed to get back. It was, I'd say, it was on fire. when it got back, but it did get back.
I remember they used to have big flames that used to shoot out of the ship.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. You hit hull and you knew it because there was this great big orange jet coming out the side of your ship.
Oh, that's just, yeah, that brings back so many memories of doing stupid shit with a bunch of battleships and thinking we were top shit until we like went out to low sector 0.0 and just got our asses stomped. But sometimes being able to get away and then you just run with your battleship. So in the beginning you kind of, you learned how to keep it up with frigates. And what were some of the times that CCP changed stuff so that it made it so you couldn't really keep up with frigates and you couldn't really take it on frigate fleets? Was there ever a time that you felt that just isn't going to work?
Well, when the warp speed changes came in, originally I thought, oh, that's it. Battleship can't keep up with frigate fleets. Usefully though, they introduced mods and implants to help you increase your warp speed. So I ended up flying around what was it, like a 2-point-something bill Megathron in a fleet full of like harpies that are like worth 50 odd mil. So it's probably just as well I didn't die because nobody knew what the fit I had at the time was.
So was that the fit or what you had in your head? Or both?
Oh, it was the fit. It was the fit, and what I had in my head was just everything was just geared towards speed, essentially.
So you were dumping billions of ISK into the fit and into your head in order to make it so that you could keep up with
a 55 mil frigate.
So were these like these are going to be pretty thin Megathrons then, right? Or even shield fit?
Oh, they're definitely shield fit. Yeah, I had 3 mid slots to play with for the tank.
3 mids for your battleship tank.
Believe it or not, though, because we were flying around in, let's say, caracals or harpies. The fleets we were going up against were geared towards shooting at harpies, caracals, but not a Megathron.
Right.
So the Logi in the fleets were actually able to keep the Megathron up.
Oh, I suppose, yeah. If you've got some decent Logi, and
it actually became a bit of a bullet magnet.
Right, yeah, because it's like, oh yeah, kill the Megathron. That's a pricey thing.
They'd see the big shiny thing. They'd go to shoot the big shiny thing, and it would end up, tanking whatever was coming its way, and then our fleet would, pick off what it wanted to, while I was being the distraction. I'm surprised they ended up stopped doing that when they realised they couldn't actually kill me.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta leave that for later, and you gotta get the tackle and the Logi and everything, kill those fuckers.
I have been told that
the
test FCs at the time found the ship to be a little infuriating.
What's the if you had a suggestion to people as to like what kind of crazy fits that they can kind of pull off, is there any kind of like suggestions that you have for some things that you've done with like the Megathron that maybe could be replicated in other areas?
Essentially, pick a ship that you like the look of. There's very few ships in EVE that are like objectively bad. There's very few.
I agree with that.
You can get something out of pretty much anything. Pick a ship you like the look of and just get dying in it. You will eventually learn how to fly the thing. And there's only so many skill points you can shove into a specific ship. So that's probably the best advice you can have for the game in general. Pick something, specialize in it, and you'll get good at it.
Yeah, try different weird, stuff. You can, figure out how to make a battleship, a Megathron, get into a frigate fleet. You can figure out a lot of weird stuff that you can have out there. And, play with stuff. Be willing to lose stuff is huge. Like Baltec said, I think if you've lost the ship 150 times, you've just learned, young Padawan, how to lose the ship. Now you you probably have gotten some kills at the, if you've lost 150 ships, you probably have gotten a kill in that time. Like, that's solo and stuff. Especially if you're going solo. That's really huge. Big fleets, you have a lot less likelihood of dying, actually, the bigger the fleet. Well, not necessarily. That can,
unless
go different directions.
Your name starts, unless you got a name that starts near the top of the alphabet.
Yeah, be careful about that.
People actually know who you are. So being a B and being slightly famous does make it a little bit more difficult.
Yes, that does. Have you ever felt like that really was like that you were targeted when you were going out?
Back in the day, yeah, because target calling back there, back in the day was pretty much start with the ears, work your way down.
I remember that. I remember that was huge, like before broadcasting.
Yeah, well, when broadcasting wasn't a thing for a long time because there was no Logi.
Long time. Yeah.
So,
I mean, there was Logi, but there wasn't like.
Yeah. So I mean, one of my favorite battles. I can't remember the name of the system. But it was when White Noise were on an absolute rampage, and they were trying to turf goons out of their space, and basically it became RT Maelstroms versus a sea of drakes. And the target calling was basically shoot Drake A, shoot Drake B, go down the list, and we just kept throwing drakes at them. Strange enough, this is how the Megathron actually kind of started going into the big fleets, because I ran out of drakes. And I was chopped around. What have we got left? Megathron's there. So I hurriedly slapped on a Drake-like tank and threw it into the fight. And it lived. Some people say, "Oh yeah, you must have done a good job, warping off when people target you, things like that." No. I lived because they were targeting battle cruisers, so I wasn't on the overview. I was in the battleship.
Yeah.
So I was invisible.
Magic.
That's how I managed to survive that fight.
That's epic. That is super. That's man, it's crazy to see that, that I never even thought about like just jumping and having that being like, this is my one ship. This is the thing that I do, and I'm gonna just fly them. Because I mean, I've definitely got my favorites: the Gnosis, the Thrasher, the Stabber, the ENI, a few others that are out there. But I think that you've probably gotten to a level of understanding with the Megathron that I'll never be able to understand. Oh,
I mean, it's been a few years, I'll admit, but I think anyone can reach that sort of level. Oddly, a great ship to start like prattling about in is the Neuros, the hauler. You slap on a tank like the old Drakes used to have, passive tank on it, fit a web, a point, a gun, and you got a drone bay. It's actually not a terrible PvP ship.
Yeah, you can do some. I really like the ability. So I do faction warfare. One of the reasons why I do faction warfare is to play the bait or just look for one-on-ones. Is to just sit inside of a Plex with like a Comet or a Tristan or something and just sit on the point, wait for somebody to come in and try and fuck with me, scram web, newt, fucking kill them. Like, this is, just fun times and, great oldies. And, like, just being able to sit and pull in stuff is always a fun time.
Oh yeah, I mean, the best way to get a fight is to just make everything come to you.
Yeah, that's the reason why I stream when I PvP a lot of the times, because I'm like, fuck it. Come fuck with us, maybe we'll get, like, I've seen it plenty of times, and I've done it, not as much, but, where you find that super bling ship, and you just blow that fucker up, and then you get the fuck out, like, save as many as you can. But if you kill like 5 billion isk worth of shit and you only lost a billion isk, who gives a fuck, right?
I mean, I'm all about fun. I mean, I always say to people, people get hung up on the kill boards, and to me, they're just another tool. You look at the kill boards and see what somebody's been up to, what ships like to fly, things like that. People look at their kill boards and stuff like, oh, is it positive? Is it negative? I don't care.
So did you ever talk to the historian of that wrote Empires of Eve?
I didn't. No. I think he got most of his information from everybody, sort of like the FCs and that I flew under, and they were able to tell a story. I've just getting Empires of Eve 2, so I've not actually read it myself yet.
Yeah,
I've
so
been told I'm in there, but
I was expecting that you would be. I'm listening to it right now. It's on Audible now. So I like listen to like Empires of Eve like a lot, like stupidly a lot. Like where my wife kind of is just like, really? Are you like, because when we're driving, if you're the driver, you get to pick what gets to be the radio show or the podcast or the audio book that we get to listen to when we're driving to like Gen Con that's like 5 hours away, and I'll be like, Empires of Eve. So I'm interested to see, because what was the year that they named the Baltic fleet after you? Do you remember? I feel like, because I remember when it was happening.
It was in the middle of the Fountain War.
So that's like 2010? 10, yeah. Yeah, it would be.
Sounds
because
right.
it sounds, because I'm just listening to, that's the part that I'm at right now, as they were talking about the Fountain War, the fall. Like, Bob had just lost their name. Goonswarm, I believe, had just lost, or did not had lost their name yet, and that's when the Fountain War happens, and then they lose their name after that, right? And they become Goonswarm Federation.
Oh no, that happens before the Fountain War.
Before the Fountain War. So,
yeah. So basically, it's essentially Bob gets stolen, then the exact same thing happens to Goons.
Yeah, Bob becomes IT. IT attacks Fountain, or like takes Fountain from Pandemic Legion, and Pandemic Legion lost an insane amount of Titans. Like, because there was like 3 that had been lost up to that point, and then Pandemic Legion lost like 6. And I remember that very distinctly. I think I was in mostly Harmless at the time. Yeah, that was so I'm up to that point. And
the way the Fountain War comes about, it's when they did the Technantian changes. It's basically Mungo changes.
Yep.
And it was the fight between Goons and Test, who were in Fountain.
Oh yeah, okay, that Fountain.
Friends.
No, that okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Never mind. So that's further down the line.
Oh yeah, it's further down the line.
Okay, so you're talking about Goons that have already gone through that, and done all that stuff, and then it gets to the point where so Test had been friends with Goons, and Goons kind of said, okay, well, we're taking Fountain, like, this is where all the good moons are, right?
It was essentially a war over money.
And that's when. So was there a specific change that happened in the Megathron that made it be like, okay, this is, everybody needs to fly a Baltic Megathron?
V has told this story to me a couple of times, and I keep forgetting it. Well, essentially, they were hunting around for a better option than what we had at the time, because we'd made the transition, because everybody had been flying Drakes, which then turned into everybody flies the Tengu, which is basically a better Drake. And then the T3 nerfs came in, I think, about just before that happened. The war happened, and we ended up looking around for different things. We ended up with Caracal Fleet, which is an unmitigated disaster. And they were looking around for something that could do all the jobs that they wanted it to do. And they just ended up falling onto the Megathron. which ticked all their boxes. And of course, they hunted around for what they should name the thing, and some bright spark decided, hey, we'll call it after Baltic because, you know, he's famously always flying them.
That is awesome. Like, yeah, that is. So I'm betting that's like what it. Did you? How were you informed of this? Did you get any prior notification? Or
I
was
got
this
no
like...
I got no notice whatsoever. I found out when everybody else did, and of course, my reaction was pretty much just, "Oh no, what have I done?"
You've brought the Megathron to the goons, man. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's...
yeah. Everybody thinks I came up with the Megathron doctrine, Baltic Fleet, and nope, I didn't. I just got named after me because I'm stubborn.
awesome. Yeah, no, that's you get fame sometimes by being a stubborn person. Like that's cool because I mean everybody does like the, you know, can I bring my Drake, and don't mean it, but it would be, you know, sometimes you do get the Drake fanatic and they're like, I'm bringing
Oh
my
yeah.
Drake, like I'm coming with it. And so you picked a ship. I love the look of the Megathron. I think it is one of the most sexy. If it then it's like Nick's Megathron, and then oh, what would be after the well, Vertical Supremacy is pretty epic. Um, but what is that? The Naglifar?
Oh yeah, the Nog.
The Nog, yeah, the Nog is pretty good. But the Megathron is like, out of all the ships in Eve, besides, like, that's one of the reasons why I got the anniversary thing, is because the Megathron is. How did you end up getting the anniversary? Because it's got a Megathron in it.
As soon as they announced it, pretty much I was all for it. It's pretty much tailor made to draw me in.
Yeah, it was like
They knew exactly what they were doing.
They were like, Frozen Fallout and Baltic will buy this just to get that Megathron. Like that's...
Yeah, I did have quite a few pings on Discord, like saying, "Hey, have you seen this?" Yes, I've already bought it.
Yes. When do we get that, by the way? I want my shit, man.
Oh, I want to say next year sometime. It's whenever it goes into production.
Good, man. Oh.
It goes into production sooner if everybody buys it. So yeah, let's plug it.
Everybody buy the 20th anniversary. It's got a fucking Megathron in it. Plus a bunch of skins that you can probably sell in game for a bunch of fucking ISK that's worth more than what the 20th anniversary is. Just hold on to them for like a year. Or sell them day one, hour one, the moment that you can possibly sell them, and put it up for like 20 billion or 100 billion ISK, and somebody might bite like right away. I sold some crazy Megathron Navy issues back in when they first released. Like day one, I was able to hand out some blueprints for them, and I was getting paid, I want to say like 4 billion per blueprint. I have to double check that, but it was ridiculous. Like,
yeah, there is a reason why I didn't fly a Navy Megathron for quite some time.
No, this was I'm sorry, Navy Moros is what I meant.
Oh, the Moros.
Yes,
all right.
Yeah, the Navy Moros when it first got released just recently. But it is nice having access to the Navy Megathron. That is, we get it on the cheap, so.
Yeah.
Kind of. I mean, it's like saying that you get rocks on the cheap for mining them yourself. But...
Wow, I mean, it's all relative, really.
Right.
One of the big problems I've got is I'm very, very good at spending the money, but I'm not very good at making it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Me too. I'm gonna kind of use this as like a lead-in. I want to talk about Fanfest, and this kind of was an experience. Speaking of being, I'm normally poor as fuck, but I just got I spun the wheel at Fanfest, and I was like, okay, I got 500 plex, got this skin, and then I got the EVE Online magazine. I was like, oh, that's cool. What, like, I look up the skin and I'm like, I don't know if this is right, but it's saying something like 40 billion ISK. Like,
that could well be.
That can't be. That can't be. So, that's weird.
Yeah.
You know, that's weird.
Well, here's another little fun little thing. I can't remember which issue it is, but I'm actually in one of the Aeon magazines
Oh.
for Fate.
Oh, that's
True to
probably not the
form,
one I have because it's 2000. The one I got that was 2006. So like my true birth date for Frozen Fallout, I was like, well, fuck, man. Fates are like speaking to me right now.
Oh, yeah. Well, it was the 50 million ISK challenge. They wanted a PvP fit ship, and I submitted the Iteron 5 as part of that.
Nice.
The reason for that one is it wasn't long after I'd actually killed a rock in
Oh,
that Iteron 5.
there
Took me
we
half an
go.
hour, but I did bring it down.
Oh, that's epic. So, so in the end, yeah, I sold it for 42 billion is because it was the Ikatursa casino skin. And I like got an offer for 30 billion, like went on Reddit, was like, what the fuck should I do? I don't even know, like I've never had a single item that was worth more than probably like 5 billion is. Like I got like an officer mod here or there that was worth a decent amount just for that one item, but I had never had this like epic thing. So that's like an experience I'm going to take with me from Fanfest. How many Fanfests have you been to at this point?
Oh, see, now somebody asked me that one this year, and I was pretty confident that I was like, oh, I've been to like 4 of them, and then I went to that wall, the history wall.
Yes, yeah, I took a
I had a
picture
look
of every
along, and I
one of
was like,
them.
oh no, wait, I've been to a lot more. Yeah, so I'm up to 7 at this point.
7. Wow. So have you skipped a fan fest yet, or what's which was
Only due to COVID.
okay? But that everybody got canceled, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's the only reason. Literally, a pandemic stopped me from going to these things.
Okay, so this is like a yearly pilgrimage that you have to the great fan
Oh yeah,
fest gathering.
I mean it's partly because I love going to these events, and partly because Iceland is just such an awesome place. It's like my go-to kiddies playground at this point.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. When you've been going enough, I would imagine that that's. I can't wait. I'm going to the 2000. I've already got my tickets to 2025. And
Oh yeah,
like my wife and I both said that this is better than Gen Con, and I go to Gen Con every year religiously. Like the same pilgrimage that I do is to that you do for FanFest is what I do for Gen Con, and I've been doing that for I want to say 15 years plus, more than that probably. Um, I think I started in 2003, skipped a few, and then like have just been super huge into going since like 2007 or something like that. But anyways, so you have been going to these for a long time. You sound like this is you've been around the block a few times. What'd you think of this 20th anniversary? Was this special in any way, or would you say this kind of like fit the standard model?
oh yeah, it was pretty good. Last year there were I want to say it was sort of like getting used to it after the pandemic.
Yes. Yep.
Because they hadn't done it for a while, we hadn't done it for a while. This year they've learned all the mistakes they made last year, and yeah, it was great. And the announcement that it's back in Harper in 2025 is just amazing, because Harper is by far the best venue in Iceland.
Yeah, I'm really excited for it to all be downtown and to get like a downtown hotel, because we got a hotel like right across from the convention center, but that wasn't as convenient as it was like 50% convenient, right? Like,
Oh yeah, I mean last year
no matter where you were, it was only 50% convenient. But downtown is kind of the place to be when you're going to be out till 3 and after 3
yeah,
at
I
night.
got like a nice halfway hotel. It's very important when you go to these events. So top tip for anyone that's thinking of going to these things: make sure your hotel is within stagger distance.
No, that's great advice. and the downtown is got a lot of like. Did you go to the Big Lebowski's a bunch, or I know that was
Oh
one of the
yeah,
big sites that we
yeah.
hit up a lot.
There's always a few places that you always end up going to when you go to these things. The karaoke night on
Yep.
Wednesday night is always a top-notch thing. Lebowski's, you always end up in Lebowski's at some point.
We did the trivia night. That was super cool.
I think I missed that. I think I was doing the Northern Lights
Okay, yep. That was right at that
tour.
time, I believe.
Yeah, yeah. It's the
Yeah.
first time in a good few years I've actually managed to see them. The first 2 years I went, I didn't have a camera and I had amazing Northern Lights. So I bought myself a nice big DSL camera. Didn't see a single thing with that camera. So this year I thought, right, I'm going to leave it at home and see what happens. And sure enough, Northern Lights. So yeah, camera's cursed, it's staying home.
That's funny. That's gotta watch out for those curses, man. It's a magical world we live in, so I mean, lots of weird shit going on. So knocking on wood, always, be safe out there. Anyways, but yeah, what do you think of the announcement? So like overall, well, okay, hold on. Before I go to announcements, just because we were talking about different kind of events and stuff, did you go to the pub crawl?
Oh yeah, I do that every time.
So what do you think of this? Because I heard that they've changed formats a few times throughout the history of the pub crawl. In this one they did, what was it, 2 bars and then meet up. You did a bunch of different groups, 2 bars, and then meet up at the end at one big giant venue.
Yeah.
And I was talking to a dev about this. What do you think about that change up compared to what was going on the other years?
So, this was a good one. I'll say that now. It's not the best one they've ever done.
Oh.
I think that one has to be when they did a bus tour. So like basically a bus crawl around the outskirts. They went to all sorts of fantastic places. So you drink and beer with horses. They went to a stables which just happened to have a bar attached to it. They went to like I don't know if you saw them. They're the Viking cosplayers.
Oh yeah,
That were
yeah,
in the,
yep.
or
That
they
was
went
at the
to
beginning.
there's an actual Viking longhouse like pub theme pub, and they have those dudes there. So they went to that one. Of course, you met with the Vikings when you come off, and they're busy like bashing each other. Yeah, that was a really good one. They didn't book enough buses though,
Ooh,
so
that can
we
be a
ended up
little
having
rough.
to get. Well, we had a few volunteers, including myself, who got off the buses. And we got a minibus to go around the places. And
Okay,
everybody,
well, that works
well, as we're
out.
getting off the bus, everybody's handing us cans of beer. So like, oh, thanks for volunteering, thanks for volunteering. So we ended up as the most well-stocked bus in Iceland, because all of us had like at least half a crate of beer going onto this thing.
Epic, epic. So this
But
year, though, what'd you think of the meeting up at one spot where everybody got to meet up together? Was that kind of normal in any other
oh yeah,
years?
this is how they normally finish off a pub crawl. They always go to a big venue at the end of it, so everyone just gathers together. For the first good few years, we met up at this best way to describe it is just basically a house next to the lake. And it's got 2 floors with bars on each floor, and you've got at least 1,000 nerds crammed into this essentially semi-detached house. So you can imagine there's no room to move in there. It's really sweaty, and there's vomit in every corner.
Oh man.
So that was the pub crawl experience that we used to get.
Well, it seems like the end
So,
venue was a lot better this time than that.
oh yeah, I mean this year you had loads of space, you had a chandelier.
Yeah, the dance floor was
it was pretty
kicking.
great.
Yeah, no, it was
The
awesome.
floor wasn't sticky.
There was a little bit of the dance floor that had a sticky floor that was
Wow.
that I ran into, but that's expected. It's a dance floor.
Yeah,
So
but no,
the
this
rest
year,
of the area
was
pretty
great.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was a really good end of the night with the pub crawl. So would you say that overall you enjoyed the like special stuff that they were doing with Fanfest at all this year? Or did you feel that with the 20th anniversary that they did some things that were actually very new or special at this point, or was this kind of the same old?
Oh, I mean, that's like all the shops and like the tombola thing, the spinny wheel thing that they had. All that was new. So yeah, that was great. Having all that, they had the extra rooms for all the presentations going on. So yeah, it was pretty good this year.
Was there anything in the announcements that you were like super excited about?
I see. I mean, this is the nerd in me. I got really excited about the James Webb
I,
presentation.
I took pictures of every single slide that they had up on the chain. With it. I was gonna record it, but I just was like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna take a picture of every slide. Try and have
Yeah,
that as my
but
special memory.
it is an ongoing thing. So we've got ESA coming in this year. We've had with the spaceport, we've had talks from JPL, NASA. One year he did actually in Vegas. He did actually bring a couple of the prototype Mars rovers to play around with, and he ended up using me as terrain. So I've got another claim to fame of I got run over by a NASA prototype rover.
Hell yeah, man! That's super epic. Was there anything game-wise that you were super excited about? Are you interested at all in the pirate faction warfare or um, the Vanguard announcement that they made?
Well, Vanguard, yeah, of course. I'm quite happy with Vanguard coming out. A few of us have known it's been coming for quite some time. We just didn't know details until now. We've known for a good few years. The London crew has been working on that one. But yeah, I'm very very excited about the new system. Basically a super highway.
Yeah, the super highway is pretty sweet. I'm going to be using
Yeah,
that a lot in my Spectre fleets. So
so that's good. That's going to be an interesting one. We'll see how badly that's held camped by somebody.
so far it ain't so bad. So we'll see though. Somebody's
But
going to hell camp it. Somebody's.
oh
Gonna
yeah,
do
but yeah, I've yet to get a Thron in there, so I'll have to deal with that at some point.
it. um, are you looking to do any kind of enlistment at all for even just short periods of time if you're capable of doing that, or even if you need to do some standing grind or some special stuff they might have out for standings?
Given that I spent like the majority of my time shooting Guristas pirates, I'm probably going to have to sort that problem out.
Oh, you're not going to go Angel, you're going to go Garista if you did do
I'm not.
that.
Well, this is the thing. I'm not too sure. I mean, with them bringing out the alligator, which is basically a snappy drake,
Mm-hmm.
might have to see about doing something about that one. But yeah, the angels are lovely ships. So I'm very excited for trying out the new toys for them.
Yeah, I really want that Angel Titan. I think that I'm going to dedicate the rest
Oh,
of
who
my EVE
doesn't?
career to having an Angel Titan. Like that's the thing that needs to happen now. So we'll
But
see.
the thought of me in a Titan is absolutely terrifying.
Yes, and the likelihood that I'll be able to actually, I mean, I guess it's going to be a long ways away. So by that time, maybe I'll have a Keepstar that I can trust. But Federation Frontline Report does not have access to a Keepstar that I would trust at this point. So,
Yeah, that's fair enough.
so kind of getting to the end of the show here, though. But I wanted to make sure that I gave you some time here. Is there any projects, any special things that you want to shout out to? Any corps people, anything that you want to give shout outs to, or any special projects that you're working on right now?
Well, I mean, I could always give the shout out to the old join horde. Uh, but no, I mean, as far as goals for me are concerned, the big one at the minute is unfortunately hangar clean out.
I know how that feels. I need to
Yeah,
do a good
that's
spring cleaning at some point here.
that's an entire project all by itself. It's probably going to last for a good month. But aside from that one, I've got my eyes on a couple of new ships that I'm wanting to try out. Pirate ships included. See how that one's going to go.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on to the show here. It's been a blast talking to you, um, and it's been a real honor.
Oh, it's been a pleasure.
So yeah, maybe we'll have to bring you back here at some point. Maybe when I talk to you again at the next FanFest, and we'll have to arrange a new meeting at that time, if not sooner.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Well, thank you all for listening. Thank you all for watching. Definitely check out the Federation Frontline Report. We do our podcast normally at 2200 Eve time on Sundays. And then, special guests get special treatment and they get their own time segments that we put this out. But definitely been a blast talking to Baltic and really getting to get into and learn the past and take me into that Wayback Machine. Like you said, check out Pandemic Horde. I know that they've got a lot of easy to jump into corporations that anybody can join. From my understanding, is that like spies welcome is kind of their mantra. Is what I've heard.
Oh yeah.
Um, and yeah, go out there, have fun. Stay safe, stay reckless. One of the two, or both at the same time. Thank you all. Have a great night.